saying. Thank you for being here to cheer on 3 winners, Winsome and John and Jason, and 10 days to go until we keep the train running with conservative leadership here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it all depends on you, and that's why they're here tonight, starting their Commonsense, Not Nonsense tour. Are you ready for Commonsense and Not Nonsense? Thank you. All right, well, we got so many great guests here tonight. Thank you all for being behind me. This is my cabinet. I've asked you to come tonight. But let me tell you, I know I'm going to tell you, don't cheer until I introduce them all. I know you never follow the rules, so you do whatever you want. I'm going to just tell you, all the candidates and electeds that are here with us tonight. We've got Vice Mayor Debbie Ritter. Debbie, thank you for coming very much. From the school board, we got Daniel Stoller, Mike Lamonia, Elijah Kalan, Norman Poole, Kim Scott. Thank you all very much. We got our Commissioner of the Revenue, Victoria Prophet. All of you love writing your checks, I know. And we got the 2nd District Chairman, Dennis Free, and the Chesapeake GOP Chair, Nicholas Prophet. Let's give them a round of applause for being here tonight. And Mike, you get 2 announcements. Mike Lamonia here running for the House of Delegates, your next delegate is here. Your former Congresswoman, the great Thelma Drake, is here. And then a number of other candidates for local office, David Mick Wallace Chadwick, Victoria Prophet, Wendy Rinker, and Daniel Stoller. Give all those elected officials. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with all of your help, I first got elected, hard to believe, 34 years ago in Virginia Beach. We called ourselves the Beach Boys, and then Thelma got elected, and then we were Thelma and the Beach Boys. But it showed what could be done when people got together, worked hard, and committed themselves to good government, and were willing to put their time, talent, treasure, effort, and good names behind a campaign. But in those days, 30 years ago, there were actually some Democrats left in Virginia that had some common sense, that were moderate, that would find middle ground. Ladies and gentlemen, they're all gone. I mean, it pains me to say it, there's none left in the House or the Senate. This is a very different Democratic Party, much more radicalized. And that's why we need common sense to continue, like we've had with Glenn Youngkin and Winsome and Jason. We need that to continue with our ticket. That's why I'm so glad you're here, sacrificing your time here on a Saturday. Think about the common sense that Jason and Winsome and Glenn have brought. We've had record surpluses every year. We've had about $6 billion in tax relief. We've had $140 billion of new capital investment in Virginia because of Glenn Youngkin running around the world, telling the Virginia story. We have great reform in our mental health laws with right help. Right now, we've had major new penalties for drug dealers, fentanyl dealers, illegal immigrants, and on and on and on. Things that make sense. Things that the average citizen talks about around their kitchen table. That's the kind of government we've served. We've actually had transparency at DMV and Department of Environmental Quality with record turnaround time in permits and on and on. This is what we need. And look what we've had, though, on the nonsense front. We've had a Democratic Party, especially what we've seen in the House and the Senate, where Glenn Youngkin has vetoed 400 bills in the last 2 years alone. These bills were so bad that they couldn't have been rehabilitated with amendments. They were contrary to the principles of good government, limited government, conservative principles, faith, family, freedom, that they had to be vetoed. If Abigail Spanberger gets elected, those 400 bad laws go into effect in the next 6 months. That's what's at stake in this election, and that's why I'm glad that you're here, because they champion things like abortion up to the point of birth, and maybe further, if you listen to Governor Northam. We've had policies that have handicapped our hardworking and brave police force, even demonized them in some respects. We've had so much sympathy for people that are illegally present in the United States, including trying to give them more benefits. That is nonsense. Isn't it time for common sense to stay in Virginia? And, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that the ultimate test of what's at stake here is what's happened just in these last couple of weeks. I've only been doing this, as I said, 34 years. But I have never heard words from an elected official and somebody who wants to be a law enforcement official, the Attorney General of Virginia, the office that I held for 4 years, who said the kind of things that Jay Jones has said, promoting assassination as a political tool to settle political scores and gain more power, wishing that young Nazi children of the Speaker of the House would be assassinated. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's wrong with the country and why we need people with common sense and not nonsense values to be in. And just a couple days ago, what did we find out? The Speaker of the House has called a session on Monday to last all week. Why? It's power. It's all about power. Because they want to change not only the Constitution of Virginia to eliminate the nonpartisan redistricting that they all supported a couple years ago, but they want to do it so they can put more Democrats in congressional seats, just the way California is talking about doing it. That's what's at stake. And also, by the way, who presides over the Senate of Virginia? Our candidate for governor, Winsome. This is all about politics, and the people should rebuke this method of winning elections and winning political battles. I've never seen anything remotely like this in my 34 years in office, and so now it's time to win. And what a great ticket we have, don't you agree? We have a Marine, one of the few, the proud, the Marine, who is an American dream story. Her parents leaving Jamaica, coming to here, to the United States, coming here and winning a house that nobody said she could win, right here in Norfolk, Virginia. A small businesswoman, somebody who identifies with people that work hard for a living, and she's going to be a champion of the middle class when we elect her. And I'm so happy that we have Winsome Sears. It's going to be our next governor of Virginia. And John Reid. Can you believe it? Can you believe there's actually a conservative in the media, and he's our candidate for lieutenant governor? What a change that is going to be. And I'm so excited we got John, and then we've got the best Attorney General of the United States of America, your champion for law enforcement, and he is going to do a great job for the next 4 years being the counselor to Winsome Sears as governor of Virginia. But you know what? It only happens if you redouble your efforts these last 10 days. Now, I know so many of you have already given sacrificially of your time, your talent, your treasure, your advice. You've been out there when it's been 30 degrees. You've been out there at 95 degrees, knocking on doors, going to rallies, handing out literature. But you know what? It's not enough yet. I'm going to give you off in 11 days. I'm going to give you a break. But for these next 10, look at the polls. Everything's margin of error. You know, one side or the other. Our candidates are right even, a little up, a little down. Every one of these is winnable. You know what that means? It's a margin of error race, and it's all about turnout. And guess whose job turnout is? Yours, and yours, and yours, and yours. Turning out our Republican base and all those common sense Democrats who finally have gotten to the point to say, enough is enough. The Democrat Party left me. I can't go with people that don't believe in police and borders and common sense values. I'm voting Republican. We need to find them, identify them, get them a car, a horse, a taxi to the polls, and make sure they vote. That's what this election is about. And if you want this as bad as I do, then you're going to do everything you can these next 10 days to make it happen. I really think this is the kind of election that if Ronald Reagan were standing here, he'd give a speech just like he did in 1964. Probably one of the greatest speeches ever delivered, and he wasn't even president then. But he was campaigning for Barry Goldwater, and he basically said that we're only one generation away from losing freedom in the United States of America, that the last great hope for mankind is the United States of America. And to do that, it takes hard work. If you want us to continue to be the shiny city on the hill that other states, other countries look at when they look to do democracy, the United States of America, you can't just be a spectator. Democracy isn't a spectator sport. So whatever you've done already, I thank you. Whatever you're going to do the next 10 days, I want to thank you in advance, but I can tell you, we're not going to get our candidates over the finish line if you don't take signs with you tonight, if you don't make a pledge that you're going to call at least 10 people and ask them to call 10 people these last days. Most people haven't voted yet. All the early voting trends around the state are remarkably good for Republicans because people want this conservative leadership to continue. But whether we win or not really does depend on all of you. So I'm going to end where I started. Are you ready to win? Are you ready to win some? Are you ready to win all three Republicans? All right, thank you very much. I appreciate
it. Please welcome your next Lieutenant Governor, John Reid.
Chesapeake was a good plan. You all have been with me since the very beginning, and I'm so thankful for that. Wow, it's great to see you. You know, I'm kind of the warm-up act. I'm like shopping mall Brittany before she became big, you know. So I'm excited to be here with you tonight. May I just check, has anybody seen Ghazala? Is she here tonight? Because I thought maybe she'd want to take me up on a debate. Since, you know, the artificial intelligence was the best representation of her on the entire campaign, I thought maybe she'd like to fix things with us, but she hadn't done that. A woman who's running for statewide office, who spends 130 days turning down a debate, not agreeing to stand on stage with her opponent, insulting her opponent, and insulting you, saying, the person who represents this party isn't a legitimate candidate. I got a problem with that. And you know what? I think the voters of Virginia, in the birthplace of American liberty, are going to have a problem with that too. You need to stand on stage for 1 hour during the campaign and answer questions about your bad votes. Answer questions about your bad decisions. Answer questions about your bad policies. And my dear friend Ghazala just won't do it. Well, you know what? She's unlucky because she's got somebody like me who's going to work from 4 in the morning till midnight every day to make sure that the people of Virginia know about her bad policies and also know about the great policies that the Republicans are bringing to town. And I'm so thankful, truly, I am so thankful that we have had Governor Glenn Youngkin in that governor's office, stopping bad ideas from becoming really bad laws. I am glad that we have had Winsome Sears at the podium in the state Senate, trying to keep things under control there. And when she has stepped off and she has said, you know what, I'm not going to be confined just by this office. She's gotten in the car, she's gone down and talked to people, she's called out Democrats who've done really foolish things, and I admire that. And I'm going to do the same thing if you send me the way. And then can I say something else about my friend Jason MiYares, who I've known back when he was a lawyer and then in the House of Delegates. This guy is the kind of person you want in the AG's office. Now, he's a Republican, and he can get in a fight if that's what we need to do. But I used to have him on my radio show every month, and I'd try to mess him up. I'd ask him tough questions that nobody else would ask. He didn't take the bait. You want to know why? because he knows the role of Attorney General is about being fair with everybody. It's about interpreting and enforcing the law, not your emotions, not what you think it should be, but what the law of Virginia says. And I can promise you, he has never spent 1 second thinking about murdering one of his political opponents in your family. And let me tell you why I'm running. There are a couple of reasons. You know, I spent some time as the communications director at the United States Chamber of Commerce, biggest business federation in the world. Big-time businesses, little businesses, people who just come to the United States with the American dream in their heart, opening a bodega or a dry cleaner, and then the biggies, Fortune 500 companies. We are in competition. People don't realize it. We're in competition with Tennessee. We're in competition with North Carolina. We're in competition with South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas. We better get ready to win, and you better put people in the Capitol who are smart enough to make wise business decisions so that you got a job, and your kids have got a job, and your grandkids have got a job. They've got to be looking 10, 20 years down the road, making smart decisions. You know what the Democrats have said? They're going to get rid of the right to work. And that means you'll be forced into a union if everybody else around you votes for a union. Right now, you get to make that choice. You decide whether money comes out of your paycheck. That's important for the working people. That's important for the working people. The Democrats always say they care about the working people. Oh, I don't think so. Not if you're trying to force people into a union. And this is the key thing I want you to share with everybody this weekend and next week, and then the weekend headed into the election. The businesses that have come to Virginia, the great companies that Bob's for Job, Bob McDonald brought here, that Jim Gilmore, that George Allen, that Glenn Youngkin has brought here. They came here largely because we're the northernmost state on the eastern seaboard with the right to work. And they're looking, saying no to Pennsylvania, no to Delaware, no to Maryland, and they're coming to Virginia. And you know what? Even the Democrats used to agree that this was the magic. Chuck Robb, Democrat. Jerry Beliles, Democrat. Doug Wilder, Democrat. Even Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, before they lost their minds in D.C. Democrats all agreed we don't touch the right to work. This group of Democrats is out the window. You know why they've changed? Because they're not looking out for you, they're looking out for the unions, not for the people of Virginia. I'm gonna look out for the people of Virginia every chance I get. Now, I promise you, I'm not going to turn this whole speech into a Bash Ghazala Hashmi session. Maybe a minute or two. So, you know, she's on TV. She's got $5 million, and I got like $300,000. I'm mad about it, but that's okay. I'm going to work harder than anybody else, so it's all right. I'm used to that in my life. But she's running these ads saying, John Reid wants to destroy public education. Oh, yeah, sure. My dad was a middle school principal in Chesapeake County. My mom was a public school teacher in Charlottesville. My grandmother, 25 years in Greensville County. I went to Henrico County Public Schools. My niece and nephew are going to Henrico County. I'm not trying to destroy the public schools. I am trying to fix them. And I'm not going to listen to the Democrats who have constantly doubled and tripled down on the bad results. And they refuse to make any change at all. Again, because they don't care about these kids. They care about the teachers' unions. Well, I care about the families and the kids, and that's who I'm looking out for when I get to the Capitol in January. Now, let me tell you, one of the main reasons that I left this job, which was so great at the big radio station in Richmond, and I also left the paycheck, I probably wasn't thinking through that one, was because I watched what happened in 2020 in my hometown, the state capital of Richmond. The $250,000 bus that was set on fire and burned in the middle of the street. My friends, who I'd known since elementary school, who were police officers, pelted with balloons filled with urine and feces, driven by Antifa into the precinct, and then the building set on fire with them inside. People don't even know this happened. This is bad stuff. Night after night after night. Not one night, you know, bad things happen one night. No, night after night after night. The Democrat governor didn't have anything to say about it. The Democrat mayor didn't have anything to say about it. The Democrat prosecutor didn't have anything to say about it. The Democrat city council didn't have anything to say about it. The Democrat members of the House of Delegates didn't have anything to say about it. The Democrats in the Senate didn't have anything to say about it. You know who stood up every morning for the law of Virginia and the people of Richmond? John Reid did at 6 in the morning. And I'm proud of it. And I'm sick and tired of watching political people turn a blind eye to the abuse of other citizens. I will not tolerate it, no matter who you are. I'm the nicest guy in the world until you start harming innocent people. And then I'm going to get into that fight. And that's why I quit the job and decided to run for lieutenant governor. So, we got a lot on the line here. A whole lot on the line. The economy, the schools, law and order, and your future. I'm willing to fight for it. I haven't taken a day off since January 27th. I'm kind of looking forward to November 5th. But I need you, please, not just to go vote on your own, but to get everybody in your household and make that list. Go through your phone and find the 10 people that you think you can say, hey, meet me for lunch and let's vote early. Or meet me on the morning of Election Day. Because that's the only way we're going to cross that finish line. As the governor said, we have 3 polls now that show my race is tied. So I'm counting on you to pull us across the finish line here. So let me tell you, I haven't been in politics. I wasn't in the House of Delegates. I wasn't in the state Senate. I've been around it my whole life. But I'm sincere, leaving my career to do this work because I believe in the people of Virginia, my home people. This is my home state, and I'm not going to let anybody take it over. This is where my family raised me. This is where my grandparents are. My mother's from Roanoke, my dad from Norfolk. We've got family all over the state. This is an important state to protect and preserve. And so if I'm sent, if I'm blessed enough to win enough votes to go to the state capitol in Richmond, it's not to settle scores with Democrats. I'd like to, but I got to be disciplined. This is about finding common ground to solve the problems that we face as a society. Not kick them down the road so we can win the next election. Let's do something now. So if you send me as lieutenant governor, here's my promise. I'm going to be reasonable. I'm going to be the responsible person at the Capitol. I'm going to be respectful of other people, even the people who disagree with me and who I disagree with. And then I promise you, every decision that I'm entrusted with, I will examine it and make the decision with a real effort to be fair to every citizen of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm proud to be your nominee for Lieutenant Governor. I've worked really hard. I will keep working hard for you if you can trust me with this office for the next 4 years. And I thank you so much for being here tonight.
Please welcome the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia, MiYares.
General race hasn't been in the news recently. No, it has been an amazing journey. Part of my joy is asking Virginians to rehire me to continue to serve them, but also remind Virginians where we were. Because the Virginia of 2021 was the Virginia that was dying. It was a Virginia that was 46 in the country in job creation. We're 48 out of 50 states in reopening our schools. We saw 2 decades of gains for our Black and Latino students wiped out in 18 months because leftist politicians refused to open up our schools. They kept our private schools open, they kept their ABC stores open, but they said to your child, they said this about my kids, sit them in front of a computer screen for 8 hours a day, and that's somehow a quality education. And probably the most remarkable thing was, and the most startling, was for 8 straight years, leading up to 2021, for 8 years, we had more people moving out of the state than moving into the state. Folks, that hadn't happened since Calvin Coolidge was president. I did have a young staffer ask me, who in the world is Calvin Coolidge? So if you don't know, that last happened in the 1920s. And I don't know, something happened in 2021. You hired me, you hired Winsome, and you hired Glenn. And you hired us to go work for you, and it's the single most remarkable 4-year turnaround any state has seen in modern American history. We went from 46 in the country to job creation, the top 5, $140 billion in new investment. That's larger than the 3 previous governors combined. Rocket ship of new investment, job creation. More net jobs were created the first 6 months of 2025 in Virginia than in all 4 years on the route north. It's shocking. And the most important, we reversed the trend. Now we have more people moving to Virginia, chasing their dreams. Because folks, you don't have to look far to see what bad leadership looks like. Just look north of Maryland. I was on the phone with Governor Larry Hogan, great former Republican governor of Maryland. When he left office, he'd given them a tax rebate. He'd given them job investment. And since he left office in just 2 years, he left at the end of 2022, Maryland went on a tax and spend spree. Maryland is now the 3rd highest tax state in the country. Do we want a Maryland, Virginia? I didn't hear. Do we want a Maryland, Virginia? I didn't think so. And when I said we were dying, we literally were hurting. I said, as Attorney General, my job is to be the people's protector. And when I took office, our murder rate was at a 20-year high, violent crime rate at a 30-year high, the highest levels of addiction deaths ever recorded in the history of Virginia. And I made several promises to the people of Virginia. Number 1, we're going to work with police instead of against police. Pretty violent idea, right? Because morale was low. We launched Operation Bold Blue Line with Governor Youngkin to put more cops on our streets. And I said, we're going to go after these repeat violent offenders and these fentanyl dealers that are destroying and ripping our communities apart. Because we were seeing these repeat violent offenders, roughly 5% of felons, were committing over 50% of the violent felonies. It was stunning numbers, and we said, listen, we're going to go investigate, we're going to indict, and we're going to prosecute these repeat violent offenders. That's exactly what we did. We went after the repeat violent offenders in our 13 most violent cities. Just one city, for example, Roanoke. 0.12% of the population of Roanoke, that's less than 1/5 of 1%. We're committing over 30% of the homicides in that city. So you have to have a backbone to go after these bad guys, which is what we did. We prosecuted them, got them off our streets. The city of Roanoke's murder rates dropped 62%. We've seen this time and time again in our ceasefire cities, which if I could just say one thing real quick, you've got to have a Commonwealth's attorney that's willing to work for you and work with law enforcement. David Mick, thank you for and your great sheriff nominee, Walt Sheriff. Thank you all. Where's Walt? Thank you. You need law enforcement heroes because I can only do my job when I have partnerships at the local level. And so listen, we've turned around, our murder rates dropped, our violent crime rates stopped by dramatic numbers. We went after and removed enough fentanyl off the streets of Virginia that would have taken the lives of 7 million Virginians. And so earlier this year, we got called up to DEA national headquarters. I did with Governor Youngkin. They announced that Virginia, we weren't top 10, not top 5, but #1 state in the entire country in the drop of addiction deaths. It's amazing what happens. So I've said from the beginning, your safety is going to be my mission as your Attorney General. This is not a political office, this is a crime-fighting office. My job is to protect every Virginian. And now I'm getting the joy of pointing out my own record of success protecting Virginians and asking Virginians to rehire me to continue to protect them. But there's somebody else applying for the job. Yeah. Someone who's asking you to hire him to be the top prosecutor in Virginia, and he's never been a prosecutor a day in his life. Someone that we know from his legislative record is a criminal first, victim last mindset. He literally has championed to get SROs out of our schools, our school resource officers. Those are literally the cops that guard your child's school. He wants them out, I want them in. He voted to end the mandatory reporting requirement of sexual assault in schools, which led directly to the tragedy in Loudoun when a 15-year-old boy put on a skirt, walked into the girls' bathroom, brutally sexually assaulted another student, and then rather than being reported to the police, got transferred to another school where he assaulted another child. he allowed that to happen with his vote. He supports ideas like no cash bail, which literally means if you're a carjacker, you're an armed robber, and you're arrested, it's a catch and release program. You're released right back into our community. They cannot hold you pending trial. That's truly an idea as dumb as it sounds. And so by all accounts, he should really be running for the Attorney General of California instead of Virginia. But now we know this is much more about who's better to protect you and your family. This has now become an election just about decency. It has nothing to do with politics. There's so much about what happened here when he sent those text messages regarding Todd Gilbert that is just simply stunning. The most important thing, which many of our friends in the legacy media has missed, is that he knows Todd. He served with Todd. I served with both of them, Todd and Jay, in the General Assembly. He knows Jennifer, his wife. Jennifer wasn't some stranger he'd never met. She would come to the assembly. She would bring their children. We would see them running up and down in the hallways. The idea that Jay Jones would want to put 2 bullets in the head of a fellow American just because of politics is unconscionable. The idea that he would wish violence on children ages 2 and 5, that he wanted to see them die in their mother's arms. You can't even fathom that somebody would say this about a fellow American and a fellow mom. This is a real husband and father that he knew. This is a real mother and wife that he has met, and real children that he has seen. And to wish that violence is simply unconscionable. It's unbelievable. What made him so angry? What made him so angry? He was mad that Todd Gilbert had said something nice about a Democrat that had served in the legislature with them that had died. And his attitude is, well, I want to piss on the grave of my political opponents. That's his worldview. There's another exchange in there that I thought was the most shocking and personal for me. It's when his colleague is telling him, Jay, please stop. Please stop, this is inappropriate. And he kept doubling down. And he was sent the text saying, Jay, you were literally saying you hope Jennifer Gilbert's children die in her arms. And his response was, yes. As I told you before, it is only through pain that people move on policy. This is why this was such a breathtaking moment for me. If you know my family story, I get asked sometimes when I travel around Virginia, what kind of name is MiYares? And I say, well, it's a Southern name. Deep South. But it's from Cuba. And I remember my mother has told me before, she says, in Cuba, when the Marxists and the socialists were beating people on the streets, arresting people in the middle of the night, nationalizing business, taking away homes, terrorizing people, they never thought of themselves as the bad guys. They always thought inflicting pain on the innocent is justified. Why? Because we're building a greater good, a better society. That's why it chilled me so much. You cannot trust anybody with power. I don't care if it's at the local county supervisor level, that literally has a mindset where they view fellow Americans not as people with dignity, but as people that it is okay and acceptable to inflict pain even on children if it's to change policy. And not just on children. He told a colleague that it was okay to inflict pain. He wanted to see cops die. He wanted to see cops die because then maybe they would change their policing policies. Ask yourself this question. How could Jay Jones ever be trusted to prosecute an MS-13 gang member, knowing he wanted to see 2 bullets on the head of an innocent American? How can he ever comfort a mother that has lost a child to violence, knowing, as the whole world does, that he wished violence on children? There is no cry like the cry of a mother that's lost her child. None. Jay Jones would know that if he's ever been a prosecutor, but he hasn't. He's a politician seeking a promotion. It is unprecedented in Virginia to have somebody seeking to be the top prosecutor in the state of Virginia, who now we know just this week, it came out that a special prosecutor is now investigating him. because he decided to go 116 miles an hour on Interstate 64, and 4 people arrived in court that day, all going roughly the same speed. Actually, slightly less fast than turning his car into a 2-ton cruise missile. 3 of those 4 people, you know what they got? Either active or suspended jail sentence, and they all got their driver's license suspended. There was only 1 person in court that day that got a deal with that judge where he avoided active jail time or suspended jail time and a suspended driver's license in exchange for what? Community service. And what did he do that community service for? Now it turns out it was his own political action committee. By the way, all of these hours I'm spending on the road, I'm doing a lot of community service these days, guys. But it shows you he doesn't think the rules apply to him. He has disqualified himself. We have never had a situation where every single major law enforcement organization, between the Fraternal Order Police, Police Benevolent Association, everyone has said, they not only have endorsed me, they have said, Jay Jones, drop out of the race. You are not qualified to serve. And so now this is this test of decency. I was not on my bingo card to get press calls as far away from Sydney, Australia, to Munich, Germany, to London, England. The eyes of the world are now upon us, Virginia. Not just the nation. That is what's at stake. I was at the JMU ODU game last Saturday campaigning, and a mom came up to me from Vienna. And she said, listen, I'm a Democrat, I am voting Democrat, but I'm voting for you because 1, I know you're confident, but 2, more than that, I can't imagine somebody who wished this against children being in your position. And as she turned to me, she said, I don't want to see Virginia become the laughingstock of the nation. And I said, wow, I haven't thought about that, but that's what's at stake. This is not about politics, this is about decency, about who we are as a people. I keep a sign in my office in Richmond. I see it every day when I walk in and sit at my desk. It is my favorite quote from Thomas Jefferson, and it is this: I've never found a difference of opinion in politics, philosophy, or religion as cause to withdraw from a friend. It's just this mindset that I may disagree with you over politics, but I'm not going to deny you the beautiful gift of friendship because you're so beautifully and wonderfully made in the image of your Creator. I can't imagine then withdrawing the gift of protection, which I'm required. I took an oath to protect every Virginian. I've met with so many crime victims, I have never once asked a crime victim, did you vote for me? What's your political affiliation? It doesn't even enter my mind because I am duty-bound and oath-bound to protect every Virginian. Because this is not a partisan office, this is a crime-fighting office. And so that's what at stake is here, Virginians. Who do you want to hire to protect you and your family? Someone who wants to see violence against children and violence against cops? Someone who wants to insult and urinate on the grave of his political opponents? Someone who misleads a judge? Someone that every single police and law enforcement organization has said, get out of this race? Or will you rehire me to continue to protect you? This is what with this, and it's a political season, I get that, but I'm reminded of what a wise Marine once told me. He said, listen, if you go to Arlington National Cemetery and you walk along those crosses or those stars of David's, there's not an R or a D next to anyone's name. And never forget that someone who thinks differently than you politically has given their last full measure of devotion to this remarkable country. They've literally died for this country. We, at the end of the day, are a good and decent people. We are in our heart. Virginians, you deserve a government as good and as decent as you are. And I'm asking you to rehire me to continue to be another 4 years as the people's protector. Thank you all. God bless you.
America, sweet
Please welcome our current Lieutenant Governor and the next Governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia, Winsome, Earl Sears, and Mr. Terry Sears.
It's impossible. And yet, all he did was take as many jobs as he could find, 3, sometimes 4 jobs this man worked, and use that money to put himself through school. And now, of course, he's comfortably retired because education will lift all boats. Education will lift all boats. And so, then he came and got me. And now here I am, second in command in the former capital of the Confederate States. And there's some politicians who want us to believe America has not changed. Well, how do you explain Because, exactly, what they do is they start trouble, and then they roll in like a cavalry to come and save us. Well, I don't need you to save me. I need you to get out of my way so I can do what I want to do. Told you they were rowdy. So what are we looking at? You know, when I was 10 years old, and doing some growing up in Jamaica, I've seen what political violence looks like. I see what happens when the gangs fight each other, one political gang and the other, and they shoot each other, and blood is in the streets. You've got tanks in the streets. You've got a mess. You've got an economic mess also. And I can't believe that that's the kind of thing that the other side wants. My opponent, I would say, she's just like Jay Jones, because she said, after Charlie Kirk was murdered, she said to her supporters, "Let your rage fuel you." What rage, Abigail? Fuel what, Abigail? To what end, Abigail? We can't have her as governor. We can't have her as governor. She's going to turn us against each other. Folks, we don't want that in Virginia. And that's why you see that she said, when Jay Jones said those horrific words, she said it was just disgusting. And now she told Katie Couric that she's unhappy that she has to address it. She's unhappy that she has to address murderous comments from her running mate. Are you kidding me? Is that it all? Oh, so it's all about you, Abigail? You're unhappy? Think about this. A Democrat called for the murder, 2 bullets in the head, of a Republican. And she is unhappy and disgusted. Instead of saying to him, "You must leave the race," let us say it for her. Jay Jones must leave the race. Jay Jones must leave the race. Jay Jones must leave the race. But no, that was difficult for her because she is cunning and she's thinking about her political future, not about us, Virginia. Let me show you another thing that she just recently did. Over the summer, she was told, well, she was asked many times, are you going to agree to a redistricting, which we call gerrymandering? And she said no. You know who else said no many times? Winsome. I said no. We don't need redistricting. Well, guess what? On Wednesday, the National Democrat redistricting votes called up Abigail and offered her $150,000. Abigail took the money, and the next day, the Democrats have now called for redistricting. Abigail Spanberger sold out Virginia for $150,000. She cannot be our governor. If she will do this in the light, what will she do behind closed doors? We cannot afford her. We don't want Abigail Spanberger. I think about so many things about Abigail, and I wonder about her. I really do. Because she also says she's going to make sure our energy costs go down. Oh, but you're smart, you see. It's really Abigail. Because you know, the Virginia Clean Economy Act was passed by every single Democrat in the House and in the Senate. Every single Democrat. And Abigail supported it. And let me tell you what it's doing. It is raising your energy bill. And wait till next year when you see that thing rise like you never believed. Now, I'm married to a vampire. I'm telling you the truth. Because every time I turn the lights on in the house, he turns it off. And so when I saw my bill was $250 the other day, I said, how? I can't even turn the heat on. He turns it off. Turn the AC up. He turns it down. But let me tell you, on Southwest, they're suffering. They have $800 bills all the way up to $1,600, and winter is coming, and they're wondering, what are they going to do? Are they going to pay the electric bill, or are they going to pay for their medication? Are they going to pay the electric bill or buy groceries, or pay the rent or the mortgage? And Abigail, she's Johnny on the spot, and she's running ads out there and saying, I am going to save you. How? When she, as I said, supports the Virginia Clean Economy Act, and she 2 weeks ago said she's going to get rid of oil and she's going to get rid of gas in Virginia, and she's going to put us in the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative in California, again, going to drive up energy. You see what I tell you? They start the trouble and then they roll in like they are the ones who are going to save us. Folks, we cannot have her. We are going to repeal the Virginia Clean Economy Act. Here's the thing. What we cannot have is someone who continues to lie to us. We cannot have that. We've had enough of that. We need somebody who's going to bring us together, and that's why one of my favorite psalms that I ran on when I ran for Lieutenant Governor, Psalm 133, how good and pleasant it is when brothers, and I'm going to add sisters, when brothers and sisters live together in peace and harmony, but you've got politicians who create problems and want to live in the past and won't let the wounds heal. They keep pulling off the scab, pulling off the scab. Remember when? No, we try to go forward. This next election is not about the next 4 years. This is about our children's future and our children's children. And that's what we want. We want to keep our own taxes in our own pockets. Abigail says she's going to increase your taxes. We want to make sure that we're safe and secure in our own homes. Our children can walk the neighborhoods, but Abigail says she's going to defund the police and get rid of their qualified immunity because that's how she voted. That's how she voted, and she took thousands of dollars from AOC's PAC that said, sign here that that's what you're going to do. And then she voted to keep the borders open. And fentanyl was coming across the borders, killing 5 Virginians every week because of her. Sex trafficking was coming across the border, child trafficking, every bad thing. And now she's going to help us? No. We found the number 3 MS-13 gang leader right here in Virginia. Trinidad, every single gang you can think of. And Abigail voted not to send those who are criminals and illegally here home. 4,000 of them are here. Guess what? They're in some form of deportation status. Get out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here! You heard the governor announce, for example, AstraZeneca is coming to Virginia. $4.5 billion investment. 4.5. Merck, $3.5 billion. And then Eli Lilly, the most recent. There were 400 applications from 46 other states. Governor, you know how this works. 46 states wanted them. And they said, no, we're coming to Virginia. Coming to Virginia. $5 billion. That's like somebody shows up with a lottery ticket and says, who will get it? Will it be you or will it be you? And Eli Lilly said, $5 billion to Virginia. Folks, those are jobs. Those are lives that are going to be changed. Those are families who are going to create generational wealth. That's what this is about. Abigail was never part of any of this when it was happening. We've been doing the work. She's been in Congress. She's going to need on-the-job training. I don't. I am ready to take command on day one. On day one. So here's the thing. This is my last finishing up. Parents still matter. Parents still matter. Folks, my opponent, Abigail Spanberger, voted against the Parents' Rights Act, which simply said this: if the curriculum is being changed from what you told us, then notify the parents. Abigail said no. Also, if my child is not reading on grade level and doing math and other subjects on grade level by the time they reach the 3rd grade, inform the parents. Abigail said no. If there's violence happening in the schools, parents must be notified. Abigail said no. If my child is transitioning and you're helping, parents must be notified. Abigail said no. Why? Why, Abigail? Silence. You know, this is real life happening. We didn't go this far to only come this far. We're not going to pass the baton to the B team. No. We cannot afford Abigail Spanberger. No. So we're going to get Jason MiYares back in. That's what we're